Welcome into the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Hope you had a great weekend. Coming up on today's show, we have the latest Baltimore Ravens news and rumors, those surrounding Lamar Jackson and Marlon Humphrey. Before we get to those, though, our first question that we want to ask you, which goes right into our first story, Lamar Jackson. How would you rank Lamar among the best quarterbacks in the National Football League? If you had to put a number on it, whether it's number 1 or number 10 or 15 or 32, whatever it may be, just want to survey all the Ravens fans out there and tell me what you think, where you would rank Lamar among the best quarterbacks in the league. And that takes us to our first topic today, as ESPN released their top 10 rankings of every position in the NFL, and for the quarterback rankings, Lamar Jackson was left off the top 10. He was listed as an honorable mention, but did not make the top 10 of the best quarterbacks in the league. Disrespected a bit. Here is more on that. This is what an NFL offensive coach had to say, an anonymous coach, about Lamar Jackson. Hard to stay healthy when you run that much. He's actually gotten a lot better as a passer. But if you play that way and it's a close game and you're down, it's really hard to win because you are asked to do what you only minor in, not major in, and that's passing the ball when they know you are going to pass it. Here's what an NFC personnel evaluator had to say about Lamar Jackson. Competitive, driven, mentally tougher than just about anybody. You just run into a few issues late in the year. For as much as you run him, you get worn down. So here's the deal, folks. For me, what I look to, our media that covers the NFL is so hell-bent on being prisoners of the moment with Lamar Jackson. Obviously, last year was not a great year for Lamar Jackson. Nobody's denying that at all. But you are ignoring the body of work. The MVP season wasn't that long ago. When Lamar Jackson is playing at his best, he is the most dangerous player in the NFL. And our memories are so short that we ignore what wasn't too long ago just because of what happened this year. And so I would encourage you folks out there, don't listen to what the mainstream media is kind of putting out there of those prisoners of the moment for being so focused in on what's happened recently, and look at the entire body of work. And the entire body of work for Lamar Jackson has been terrific through the early part of his career at this point. Now, more on Lamar in just a second, but before we do, this month here at Chat Sports, we are battling all of the other channels on not only subscribers, but the Noti gang, as we call it here, people that have notifications on. Last week, we gained close to 200 new subscribers, and so we want to make sure that you are a part of what we're doing as we count you down to kickoff here on Ravens Rundown. We're covering this team like no one else is. Subscribe now, turn on the notifications so you are the very first to know exactly what's going on with your team, the Baltimore Ravens, and so you are alerted when everything's going on. We're going to cover this team and hit that notification bell, select all notifications so you know everything that's going on with your team. We're glad to do it here for you. Subscribe now, Ravens Rundown today. So here is ESPN's top 10 list of quarterbacks in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, 1-2. No surprise there. Josh Allen, 3. Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, coming in at number 4, with Joe Burrow at 5. Matt Stafford, the reigning Super Bowl champion quarterback, at 6. Justin Herbert, the Chargers, at 7. Russell Wilson at Denver at 8. Deshaun Watson at 9. And Dak Prescott, 10. Look, give or take, I think that you could argue about that top 7, right? But I look at those guys there towards the bottom, and for me, Lamar Jackson has to be top 8 at the very least. I mean, Deshaun Watson, Lamar's been clearly better than Deshaun Watson throughout his career. He's been clearly better than Dak Prescott. To me, he has to be at least within the top 8. I mean, for goodness sakes, We'll show you the numbers here in just a second, comparing Lamar and Dak in particular, just for the top 10. But our pinned comment today, Lamar or Dak, who would be the better quarterback? If you had to choose between the two, Lamar Jackson or Dak Prescott. I can't believe we're having to ask this question, but because Espen put it out there, then I guess we will. Lamar or Dak? Type LJ for Lamar, type DP for Dak Prescott. Here is the numbers comparing the two. Let's start out with Dak Prescott. A career year for Dak Prescott last year, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Dak was really good, no question about it, what he was able to do in 2021. But comparably speaking to Lamar Jackson, last year, the down year for Lamar Jackson, 16 touchdowns and 13 picks, but we've seen him be terrific. 2020, he was good. 2019, the MVP season that he had, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he ran the ball terrific as well with over 1,200 yards on the ground that season on top of what he did through the air. As you can see, you'll look back at that MVP year, 7 touchdowns, 6.9 yards per carry, a true dual-threat quarterback. Lamar Jackson, comparably speaking, him to Dak Prescott, Lamar, maybe not as good of a passer as Dak, but he's sure a lot better runner. He is a lot bigger threat, dual threat, than I think Dak Prescott is. So for me, just the disrespect, we're going to see Lamar play with a chip on his shoulder. He's going to play with something to prove. You know, it all started back when he had won a Heisman Trophy, but was still picked at the very end of the first round when he was drafted, when everyone had passed on him. So Lamar, you know, these rankings are silly. I get it. But I got to tell you, I think Lamar's got something. He's got a little extra juice on that front. We'll talk about Lamar's contract now. And this got interesting this weekend when Lamar Jackson changed his header on Twitter as well as his Instagram to the teeth there with the "I need money," and people, of course, read into it, as you could imagine. Lamar, though, spoke to USA Today, and here's what he had to say about the situation. I don't know why people are blowing it up. I just saw Bleacher Report post it. They just take anything that's posted on social media and just blow it up. I try to think for you. I don't take it too seriously. They're making it seem like I'm talking to the Ravens when I'm not. Our contract discussion is going on already, but it ain't about that, though. I'm not putting my business life on social media. I won't ever do that. I won't put my personal life on social media. I'll show stuff, but I won't throw subliminal messages out there. That's not me. Now, granted, I don't like to read into things too much. You know, we've all been there before, right, where the girl you like, maybe she didn't see your Instagram story or something like that, and you try to talk yourself out of it where, okay, doesn't mean much, whatever. But when I see this thing from Lamar, I mean, he put it out there for some reason. I mean, is it just a pure coincidence that he changed the header to his Twitter and his Instagram about money here? That's where I'm like, okay. I mean, Lamar, even if it was, even if I give Lamar 100% credit here, I mean, did you think that people weren't going to react when you put something related to money out there? I mean, come on. Look at the money that these guys are paying. I mean, if I was Lamar, I would need money too. I mean, look what they're paying guys. Aaron Rodgers, $50 million. Deshaun Watson, 46. Patrick Mahomes, 45. Josh Allen, 43. Derek Carr, 40. I mean, for goodness sakes, he deserves more money than Derek Carr. I mean, at the very least. I mean, I told you earlier, he's better than Deshaun, and he doesn't have the history Deshaun does by any stretch. So, yeah, I mean, Lamar deserves to get paid at some point. His day will come, and I think the Ravens will pay him, and he will be a Raven for a long time. So, let me hear from you guys. Let's send some good vibes. Like the video if you want to see the Ravens sign Lamar Jackson to a long-term deal. Let's show him some love. If you want to see that done, like today's video. Let's talk about Marlon Humphrey now. In the same list that ESPN put together, they named Humphrey as the 8th best cornerback in the NFL. Is he underrated or overrated? Here is what an AFC defensive coach had to say about Marlon Humphrey. He's more an overall disruptor with physicality than having elite ball skills like some others on the list. He's a guy you would take all day, and his all-around game is great. He just doesn't have the ball production of some others. Now, here's what an AFC executive had to say about Marlon Humphrey. He gets a lot of zero coverage and the best receiver on the other team as far as assignments. And he always battles. He's going to get some, but he's still really good. He needs to play man more than zone because he needs to be able to be physical. More on Marlon Humphrey in just a second. But Marlon Humphrey, he's looked really good as of late. Will we see him continue that? Can he have a Pro Bowl season in 2022 and be among the elite cornerbacks in the National Football League? Let me know. Type Y for yes, type in for no if Marlon Humphrey is going to make the Pro Bowl this year. That's Y for yes, type in for no. Here's the list of ESPN's top 10 cornerbacks. Jalen Ramsey, number 1. Marshawn Lattimore, 2. Alexander, 3. Howard at 4. Jackson at 5. And then the next half, that's where we do find Marlon Humphrey, behind Denzel Ward and Patrick Surtain, and ahead of A.J. Terrell and Trayvon Diggs there. Good company from Lamar Jackson, and I think that feels about just right at number 8. Now, another step forward for Marlon Humphrey, I think, and kind of talked about there from the executives and the personnel reps in the NFL that have seen Marlon Humphrey that we showed you earlier. The next step for Marlon Humphrey is going to be getting those interception numbers up. I mean, if you look at what he's done since 2020, he's only had 2 total interceptions in that stretch. That's it. That's all we've seen from Marlon Humphrey. Now, he has been a terrific lockdown, shutdown corner, taking on the best receiver every single week. But more turnovers. That's the next step in the maturation process of Marlon Humphrey. When we talk about him being among the elite, if he's going to come up in that list and crack that top 5, it's got to be some more interceptions. And I think we will see more of those out of Marlon Humphrey in 2022. Now, before we go, I want you to like today's video if you want the Ravens to sign Lamar Jackson long term. Okay? Look, we are going to be all over this until a deal is done, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's a year from now, whatever it may be. We're going to cover this, but I think we need to send some good vibes. We need some good juju to get something done. So go ahead and like today's video, show Lamar Jackson some love, and let's see the Ravens get a deal done.